Oh, wait. Okay.
Okay, I think we are live.
Wait. Okay.
All right. I believe we are live now. So everybody, if you can hear us and see us okay, please type llama in the chat or let us know where you're viewing from today. Let us know how excited you are to watch this demo with Chiara. Oh, we have a llama from Minnesota. As soon as we got a few more answers. Ottawa, Chicago. Welcome, everybody. Great. All right, so I believe we are ready to go. Oh, we have people from Barcelona and New Jersey as well. It says coming in loud and clear. All right, so we are ready to go. Hello, everybody. My name is Kitty, and I will be your host for today's Etcher Mini Workshop preview. We are here with Chiara Gomiselli, who will be teaching you how to balance line and color in your illustrations. So because this is being recorded, we will have all the questions in the chat. So if you have any questions, go ahead and put them in the chat in all capital letters, just like this. And if the question is relevant to what Chiara is doing at the moment, I will ask her at that time. If not, I might hold some of those questions off until later when we do our question and answer session. And also, if you choose to follow along with today's exercise, we would really love to see what you do. And we have a private Facebook group that is only for people who've done our workshops and our previews. And if you post your work there, Chiara can see it and also maybe give you some feedback if you'd like. It's a very kind place to share your work. It's very positive and very supportive. So I'm going to go ahead and put that link into the chat as well. And from here, I'm going to hand it over to Chiara, who will be telling you a little bit more about what we're going to do today.
Hi. Can you hear me? I think I have a bit of a feedback, so if sometimes I look weird,
okay.
So I'm Chiara, I'm from Italy, so I'm so happy to see you from all over the world. And I'm here to show you how to balance the watercolor and the line in urban sketching. I also have some examples on how to, of some good balance and less good balance, let's say. And because this is something that is good to know that you need to look for, but is also a lot about practicing and practicing. And you can see from after if the balance is good or bad. And actually asking for feedback is really good because that's the real way you can see your way, the ways you can improve. So I will show you my works. For example, those are two that I did during my tour. My story is a bit particular because in 2019, I toured Italy and with my motorcycle to paint the heritage. For example, these are two examples that I think are quite good because the line is very soft. I think you can see. So in those two, the watercolor is the medium that has more power in it over the drawing in a way. While, for example, in this one, the drawing is more a graphic design, a graphic illustration, because the drawing is more important in a way compared to the watercolor itself. The watercolor is something that is just used for filling in the spaces, let's say. But this one, for example, has a good balance, in my opinion. On the other hand, for example, this one is something that probably the line is a bit too strong. So here I did lose a bit of the balance because in the image, the line is a bit too strong. So that's just to give you some example. This is one of the first drawings I did. And just to show you what I did, I was doing the tour of Italy. And after I did a book with all the illustrations and telling all the stories of the places that I've been, with some stories of the place. Yeah, so this was my adventure that you can find me on Instagram and Facebook in case. And this painting you see here is the one we will do for the mini workshop. So I just wanted to show you, but we will go back later to analyze something about the lines and watercolor here. And so I suppose we can just get started. Okay, I think you found the reference photo for downloading in the page. This is gonna be the reference photo. This is a theater in Sicily, in Palermo. I was there a couple of months ago. And I choose this one because it's interesting. The volumes are interesting. And there is an interesting part of light and shadow here in the columnate. I don't know how to say it, like where the columns are, let's say like this. And I like the idea that around there is the trees. So what I did was already did the drawing so that we have enough time for going with the, and I will start with the pens. I will show you usually, those are 3 pens that I usually use. It's the Derwent, the Micron, or actually lately I've been using also the Winsor & Newton. This one, for example, is a gray one. Is good if you want to go toward more of a watercolor finish, because you can, it's like the pencil, you don't see it once you're finished. But today we are gonna go with this one. The pen also depends on which kind of paper you're using. This one is the etcher, what's the name? The extraordinary sketchbook. No, what's the name? Do you remember?
Perfect sketchbook.
Perfect sketchbook. Yeah, exactly. So it's a bit rough, the paper, so the line is going to be easy to keep the line very, very soft. So as you can see, I didn't try to make it perfect. The perspective in some places is not perfect, but I think it's good also sometimes to go and see where you can do the changes afterwards. So let's get started. So I try to keep exactly for the reason for keeping the balance between the watercolor and the line. I try to be, I call it a sort of a nervous line. So you can see that it's really just an indication of the spaces most of the time, because we are gonna go back anyway after the watercolor, we're gonna go back to give some more power to some of the lines. I will, since it's winter, and usually I would be painting this from outside, probably would be cold, so I'm gonna do fast because it's too cold, you know. So let's see how also you can cut down some of the details if you have to make something that it's faster. And anyway, this one, we sort of want to keep it short. I will definitely do much slower and showing more details during the workshop. Okay, here you can see there is all the detail that goes in, out. So we try to figure out how to render this. This is a column. Okay.
So are you going more for a suggestion of the detail as opposed to being really specific?
Yeah, definitely, because there are a lot of details. I also am thinking of if I don't know if I want to paint the, I don't know if I want to, I think I will do mainly the building. So I'm not sure I will do the figures, and I might even take off there is a gate all around it. So I think I might not even drop that one so that we can give more power to the building. Because, yeah, well, in my tour, I try to show the historical things in a way. So, okay, so this one's the arches. I don't know if for you is the same, but arches are always tricky. You know where they start, but you never know where to finish. So, okay, it'd be like this. Well, yeah, let's draw also the thing. Okay. Okay, this In particular, this pencil I use is a water soluble, so probably it will go away after I start painting. So let's go here. This one, it's already the dark, so I can already push out some dark, some shadows. Okay. Sometimes when I draw, depending on the subject, I might even do everything by pen directly. That I know that usually is a question that many people ask me, but it depends how complex, let's say, is the subject. In this case, for example, I would do a sketch before, because to capture some of the perspective, it's a bit more, complex. Okay, I think the touches are very interesting. So it's sort of, when you have this kind of drawing, it's interesting. It's a challenge to find a balance in, to show what you're drawing, but at the same time, not get stuck in the details. It's big, too big. Okay, I'm definitely not good at drawing horses. I will do
They're pretty challenging.
Some additional. It's interesting because actually at the end you can draw everything, because everything is about the way you look at it. But sometimes animal, for example, is not something I'm used to, so it's really hard for me to capture the forms, because you have your basic drawing skills from when you are 5 or 6 that you draw horses. If you don't practice, you tend to do still the same things. Yeah, our brain is pretty interesting. Okay, let's do this. So we will have some. This is a window.
And everybody, if you're just joining us and you missed the beginning of the demo, no need to worry, because the recording will be up on YouTube shortly after we sign off. So you can always rewatch it.
Okay. For example, here I really love, there is a, I don't know if you can see it, not from this picture. Well, there is a palm tree, and I really love, it's something that really gives you the position of the place, because it's in Sicily, there are a lot of palm trees. So, and I really love them. So I really wanted to capture. Okay. Okay. As I mentioned before, probably here are some bushes. What I like is to give the idea that the street goes behind. So I will just probably do the street. And probably here I will just do some shadows, or I'm not going to paint the houses here. So now let's try.
Chiara, we have a question in the chat asking, where is this? It looks familiar.
It's Palermo. Is the Politeama, is the other theater. I think you might have seen the advertising for this live show, and that one is one of the theater in Palermo, and this is the other one.
Ah, okay.
The other one is like the Opera House, the one you see in the advertising. This is one, I don't know how it's called in English actually, is the one where they do top Politeama is called in Italian. It's like the theater where they only do things that are talked, not sang.
Oh, plays?
Yeah, probably, yeah. That it can be comedies or other things, or
yes.
But everything that is like recitals, plays. Yeah. Okay. This, yeah. Okay. As I mentioned, I'm not going to bother that much with the perfect perspective or whatever, because I really want to get to the point in which we get to the color. And anyway, usually you can get some details done and perfected when you paint, when you add the shadows and the light and shadows. Okay.
Oh, that came together really, really quickly.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is my normal way of working. I mean, so when we do the mini workshop, I will try to go slower to show more, but yeah, usually I like to work fast. I see that, especially if you do, I prefer to take more time maybe with the watercolor than for the sketching part, because I feel it's, it gives me more, drawing faster, it gives me more freedom to not to bother too much with the mistakes and etc. So yeah, I don't know. Okay, I think we are actually done with the base of the drawing. So let's get started with the fun part. Okay. I think this position is good, right? You can see. I like to work with this kind of brushes. It's like a cat tongue brush. I think. Wait. Probably I could have wet the palette a bit before. Okay, so
looks like it's a pretty large size, isn't it?
Sorry?
The brush looks like it's a pretty large size.
Well, yeah, the size of the brush itself, it says it 3/4, but I would say it's like 2-3 centimeters long, maybe more. I don't know how to translate, and yeah, it's pretty big considering. Yeah. Sometimes I even do details with this because I'm just in the flow of painting and I forget to change the brushes until I mess it up and it's like, oh, I should have changed it. Why am I doing? So yeah, but okay. Okay, I have to say that lately I fell in love with turquoise for my sky, so I tend to be like very monothematic. So since we have also this perspective that it's like goes like this, I will try to make I will make the sky in more of a dynamic, yeah, a dynamic silhouette that goes toward here. Oh. Okay, I just canceled. Yeah, I think the watercolor decided for me, no buildings over there. Yeah, that's what I love of sketching, that you are around and you notice the details, but usually you notice them too late when you already have put the pencil down, the color down. It's like, oops, there were windows there. There was a building.
Well, now they're not.
Okay, yeah, that's an interpretation. That's not real urban sketching, because you're supposed to draw everything that you see, but again, I think that there is space for interpretation. Okay, so let's go with the trees so that we can have some colors. I will. Okay, this one I will keep it quite light for now.
Yeah, you're just going wet on dry, is that correct?
Yeah, wet
Okay.
on dry, but with, I would not say a lot of water, but not dry on dry. I mean, there is, you can see there is a lot of water dripping. Yeah. And actually, I've been doing a workshop a couple of weeks ago with Brazilian watercolorist, and he used a ton of water. So now I'm like, oh my God, I want to try to use more water. But and it was interesting because he said, you know, when you do with a lot of water, you let the watercolor do the job for you.
Yeah.
The first layer, he's doing the job for you, and then you can pick up where he left after the first, you know, layer. Yeah, for example, here, probably I should have waited for it to dry a bit. Well, I
so
suppose
it was unintentional wet on wet.
Yeah. Well, it will become a much bigger palm at the end.
What color is that you just added?
I added a bit of ochre.
Okay.
Yeah, I felt. Yeah, as you can see, I can do the details with this brush. But I mean, it's a very versatile brush, because I never really paint with small brushes, because I really think if the brush is good, you can do anything with even the detail with the with a big, because yeah, if it's a good one, the point is gonna be pointy enough.
Are you going in with a blue now for the shadows?
Yeah. I moved the colors from the palette, so now I cannot find which one is the Ultramarine. Very professional, as you can see. I just love to have fun in a way, you know. I feel that when you have fun painting, then the painting is going to show that you had fun. So that's going to show more than the mistakes in a way. Okay. No. I mean, I want to focus on the building now. So the trees are okay like this. I will just, this part is also. Here it's. And it's really like this. It's very interesting, because all around the theater there is this grass, this greenery, and a lot of trees. So it's a very particular place, not very common. Okay. Okay, so that's the just
The way that you're painted the sky makes the building look very impressive.
yeah, because it gives you the dynamics.
Mm-hmm.
Today I did the sky very uniform. You can also add colors. Usually the sky is not supposed to be, if you look at it, it's not really one color, right? Because it reflects the colors that there are around. So sometimes I put yellow in it, or depends on the color that I will use after for the buildings. You can add it to the sky. Okay. I really like this idea of giving the direction, so I will leave it. Okay. Okay, and now I will dry just to be sure, because I hope it doesn't make too much noise.
Oh, Zoom will mute it for you.
Sorry?
Zoom will mute it for you.
Oh, okay.
Yep. And everybody, if you are following along today, or you decide to try painting this later on, we would love to see what you've done. So I'm going to put our tags for Instagram for both Chiara and Etcher Studio into the chat. So just tag us when you share your work.
Okay. I just noticed that I had my dryer on top of the wet brushes. So that's not good. So don't do it. If you're at home, don't do it. Okay. So here, when I start working for the building, there are two ways I like to go. You could go first with the shadows and then draw the lights in more uniformity. Otherwise, you can start with the basic colors of the building, and then go on top with the shadows. Here, I think I will simplify some parts. Like the columns are white. There are a lot of colors once you start looking, but I will make it definitely more simple, and I will just try to give an idea of the color that are mixing in the building. So let me clean here. Okay. Definitely go with ochre. Some yellow, I think. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I will keep it quite light. Okay. Until here. Here you can see the pencil that cut off. And here there are some decorations that are like green, so I will just use the wet on wet to give the idea. And some orange to give some. For example, here I'll use it on the top, since here there is the shadow. So I will add some.
Chiara, how damp is the base layer at this point?
The base layer, you mean
the ochre that you put down?
Yeah.
How damp is that right now, or is that pretty dry?
Half, I would say.
Okay.
It's not. Yeah, I would say it's not wet, but if I put on the color, it will, in some parts, it will spread completely.
Okay, great, thanks.
Yeah, it's a level that you can still work on, and it will just go around where you don't want it to go. Kind of wet, let's say. So I will go back to the ochre. Okay, here the ochre actually is top here. It's something similar to the ochre that I would. This one is more orange than this part. Actually, it's quite whiter, but let's do this. Now I'm just spreading the color with the water. Okay, and now I can do the back part of the wall is more orange. Even it's drying pretty fast, actually.
Is that a pink that you're using now?
This is yeah, sort of a quadrichrome.
Quinacridone. Quinacridone.
Yeah, it's like it's
Rose
near the magenta. It's not really a magenta, but actually I'm following a course on theory of color, and I'm discovering that finding a real magenta in watercolor, it's almost impossible.
Yeah.
It's driving me crazy. I've bought 4 different kind of colors, and I still didn't find one that is really magenta.
I haven't found one that I like either.
Yeah, I was trying to look one that is very very magenta, because I wanted to do the exercises correctly, to see all the mixing to get to the color, but it looks like it's very complicated.
I have found some liquid watercolors that have really strong magentas.
Yeah, I think so.
But unfortunately, we can't keep that in our palettes when we travel.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. This one. And then there is one line here. The top is red again.
This is a good question in the chat. Are the liquids less light fast? I don't know, but I'm going to look that up.
As are what?
The liquid watercolors, somebody was asking if the liquid watercolors are less light fast. But I have no idea. I'm wondering if it's more to do with the pigment.
If they dry fast, less fast.
If they are light fast, meaning will they fade? Like a lot of pinks, a lot of pink colors are fugitive. They will fade when they're exposed to sunlight.
Well, that's every watercolor. It's the pigment and the base of the watercolor. So yeah. You can't really put it in the sunlight. It will fade, whatever watercolor. I mean, that's what I've always heard, but yeah, it might be.
It depends on the individual pigment. Some are considered light fast where they don't fade much at all, and others can practically disappear. And that's one of the problems with the pinks, like opera pink and some of the magentas, they just fade away. So yeah, I think it has more to do with the actual pigment as opposed to whether it's liquid or it's a solid.
Yeah, I think so too.
But most companies, either it'll say on the container or the tube or the bottle what the light fastness is. If not, you can always just contact the company because sometimes they have that information not on the containers, but on their websites.
Oh, okay.
So I hope that helps, Ramona.
Yeah, I know that on my paintings, I always write, don't put it in the sunlight.
Yeah.
At least I told you, you know.
I know. Me too. I have some colors that I really love and I can't stop using them, but yeah, they can't be in the sun.
Okay, I think no, we are missing the. Yeah, here maybe we could have used some masking because the columns are really white. But I like the effect anyway. We can work it out with the shadow later to take them out. Okay, so we have the horses still.
And everyone, we're going to discuss this a little bit more thoroughly towards the end, but just so you know, Chiara is doing a mini workshop on Monday, December 6th. It's at 9 in the morning Eastern Standard Time. And it's a 90-minute class where you'll go a lot more into these techniques that she's teaching you today. And it's also a really wonderful way to support Chiara and her art. And if you can't make the live class, no need to worry because we will be sending you the recording that you can watch later. And we will discuss what you're going to be learning in that workshop a little bit later.
Okay. Oops. Okay. Maybe we'll stay there. Okay, so I suppose I will dry it. So we can.
Just out of curiosity, I'm wondering if anybody is following along today. Let us know in the chat.
What?
Oh, I was just asking if anyone is following along today. I'd like to know the answer in the chat.
Okay. No, I thought you said, oh, there are a lot of people painting along. I was like,
Oh,
no. So that's why I was very curious. Actually, yeah, no, I mean, if anybody does the exercise, I would love to see it. And
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, we do have somebody who's sketching along. Excellent. She says
Good.
it's great fun.
Good. Yeah, it's challenging. I don't know why I choose this picture.
We have a couple of people who are following along. Yeah.
Good.
That's the good thing about these recordings. You can always go back and pause it, slow it down.
Okay. Okay, shadow, personally, I think you can do it in two ways. You can pick a color that I personally like, the violet, or you can use the ultramarine. Ultramarine gets really deep, or another kind of blue you can use, like to give the difference between cold and warm. I prefer the violet, the purple. I feel it's less cold. And what you can do is go straight with your color, or you can mix every time the color with the base color. So here I would mix the purple with the ochre, and here I would do every single piece with the two colors, right? But in this case, usually I do with just straight on top. So I think it's already a good result. So it also depends on which designs you have. Maybe sometimes I use also purple with a bit of Payne gray, so it's a bit even darker. Depends on the mood. For example, I did sort of a workshop a few weeks ago, and we work on shadows, and I suggested to the people to just use all the darks they had in the palette to try out what are the darks that could come out from there, and then choose their own, and then use it for giving shadows, so that they could sort of choose their own shadow color, because I really think the shadow is also something personal. So, for example, I found the purple after a while I was painting.
I'm really enjoying your selection of colors.
I have to say I had to revisit the whole palette for this workshop, because lately I have bought colors a bit randomly in a way. And which are really, or maybe I just got out of the, you buy colors and you never use it. So
yeah.
Oh, let's try this and let's try this. And then I had like, now I'm using it 6, 7, 12. I think it's 16, 18. I cannot even count. I can tell you later. But yeah, I arrived to 30 something, and it was definitely too many. I said, okay, let's clean it up. So it was a good opportunity also for that, to do the workshop. here is good to have a bit of more of a patience. Sometimes the shadows are actually what after can make come out everything else. So it's good to take a bit of more time to do them. And I'm talking to myself too, because usually I rush through them too. So after we will go back here, for example, would be very dark. And actually there is the ceiling of the columnate, so we will have to differentiate also the two colors. Okay, so here is dark. I'm really happy. Now I'm in the place when I'm relaxed and I'm in the flow. All the excitement go down. Now I'm like, okay, now I'm in the flow.
And everyone, if you have questions for Chiara for a question and answer session, please do put them in the chat so I can start collecting them.
Yeah. Actually, I'm really curious if you have questions.
Chiara, while you're painting those shadows, can you tell us a little bit more about what we'll be learning during the mini workshop?
Sure. We will go back mainly on this topic of the balance, which I think is a very important topic. At least for me, it was a very important topic when I started learning, because you sort of have to select what you're doing if you want to do more toward the watercolor style or more toward like a graphic style. And sometimes, and I feel this is something that is not really taught much, because, you know, unless you do pure watercolor, when you use watercolor for painting, like urban sketching and stuff, it's really hard to figure out what's the right balance. So for me, it was a great learning experience when my teacher taught me, and then I developed my style with this balance. So it's also something that you can, it's useful whatever style you use. Sorry. Yeah, how can I say? Now I'm in the moment in which it's hard to talk and paint. I'm in the flow, I'm in the phase in which my mind is in the painting. Sorry. So yeah, we will go through, I will go slower for sure. So this was something just to show you how you can balance the elements, but we will go deeper. The drawing is also has some part of how do you say, like nature, more trees, and it's more of a landscape, full landscape. So that's also sometimes hard, because buildings are really, they are there, right? They have the lines, they have the details, so it's sort of easier to figure out how to balance. But when you have landscape, it's a bit harder. So it's good to go through it and see what you can do to balance, because I feel, especially in landscape, when you draw in watercolor, it's always, how can I say, it's hard to to stay away from these hard lines, but still use your own style to give, so that the drawing is recognizable, but at the same time there is this freshness that a landscape, a natural landscape can have, right? I don't know if you ever had this experience that until you draw the buildings, you're satisfied, but as soon as you get to draw something, trees or a forest or, you know, canyon or whatever, is like, okay, I don't know how to find a balance. So because I feel that's where the beauty of watercolor comes in, that can work just for impressions more than giving all the answers directly.
Well, Chiara, we have about 5 minutes left.
Okay.
So we do have a question in the chat asking, are these the supplies you would use on location? Yeah. These are the supplies I brought with me with my tour. So yeah, this is the supplies I bring around. Well, I mean, with the tour, actually, I had single papers. That's the only difference. I cut down papers in A4 format. So I had like, sheet of papers. Okay, if we don't manage to finish now, because the shadow took a bit longer than I expected. Usually, well, you see, this is interesting because now my style sort of evolved. Usually I would have added a lot of ink to it, but when you work slowly with the watercolor takes over. And actually, if I add some of the shadow still in watercolor, probably I will not even need to add ink more. Maybe I just need really few lines. So that's, and you never know until you get to the end of your painting. And we have one more question.
Yep.
Do you drive your own motorcycle or ride as a passenger? Says
Absolutely.
he made a palm-sized sketchbook to draw while riding as a passenger. That's kind of cool.
Oh no, I drive. No, I went by myself. I was solo traveling for 4 months, and yeah, I have my poor model is stuck in Sicily. I never managed to bring it up. If it all goes right, I want to go back on the road in spring to visit some more regions of Italy. The only problem with Italy is that I feel one lifetime is not enough to see everything, especially to paint it, because it takes much longer.
Right.
But hey, it's worth it. But I think everywhere that's what my motto, my philosophy of drawing is, that through drawing you can really learn to see that there is beauty everywhere. So that's why also I was in Italy. I traveled in Italy, but I didn't really paint the big famous scenery or big cities. I mostly stayed in smaller cities and smaller heritage sites. So it was very interesting. I discovered some incredible beauties with no tourists. So yeah.
Well, excellent. Well, everybody, I've gone ahead and put the links in again for the mini workshop, which is on Monday, December 6th at 9 o'clock Eastern time. And if you can't make the live class, not to worry, because the recording will be available to you. I've also put in the link to our private Facebook group where you can share your work and maybe get some feedback from Chiara, and also a feedback link. We would really love to hear what your experience was like today, so we can keep bringing you content that you enjoy.
Yeah, actually, I would love to hear about you, and I hope to see you all in the mini workshop. If I will be in the group anyway, and I will post this one once I finish it tomorrow morning, because now here in Italy is dark, so I cannot really take proper picture. So yep, I will add some, but I would say mostly is finished.
Great.
It's
all right.
a bit of focus, sorry, but So I don't know. I mean, if you have 5 more minutes, we can, I don't know if you want to close it up.
Yeah, our time is definitely up, so we need to close. And everybody, we do these live demos just about every day. So please subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications to stay up to date and be alerted when we go live. We also have our Make More Art podcast and also product demonstrations and much more. And Chiara, thank you so much for all your help today and teaching us about this balance of watercolor and lime, and for all your insights and for the entertainment, talking about the motorcycles and everything.
I hope fun, so I had fun
Yeah,
too.
it was fun. And thank you everyone for watching today. And until we see you next time, make more art. Bye, everybody.
Bye. See you later.